Well, the Albanese government must immediately withdraw harmful LGBTIQA+ gender fluid ideology and other woke curriculum material from childcare centres. This is urgent, and it follows revelations by the Institute of Public Affairs this week that Labor's new curriculum for childcare centres is indoctrinating toddlers into cultural Marxism. The Albanese government is leading 0 to 5-year-olds down a path of harmful gender confusion, causing them to question even the legitimacy of the Australian nation. The IPA's research has shown that diversity, inclusion and equity are mentioned 149 times in this curriculum, and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders and reconciliation is mentioned 96 times. However, mother, father and parent are not mentioned at all. The federal government's childcare regulator, the Australian Children's Education and Care Quality Authority, is encouraging toddlers to explore their gender and concepts that disrupt the colonial understandings upon which Australia was built. The only thing children need to understand about gender is that there are boys and that there are girls, full stop. Following the UK's Cass report, which found children were being irreversibly harmed by so-called gender affirmation treatments, it is irresponsible in the extreme for the Albanese government to be opening the gate for gender fluid ideology in childcare centres. Now, according to media reporting of the IPA's research, learning materials recommended by the regulator include ideas that children should be understanding and exploring gender, and the colonial understandings of Australia should be disrupted. Now, the regulator suggests children perform a daily acknowledgement of country and that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags are displayed in the childcare centres. Teach the kids while they're young that they're on stolen land. The IPA's Dr. Bella de Brera, whose research has exposed this new childcare centre curriculum, said this: similar to the national curriculum, Australia's early learning framework begins the process of indoctrination by introducing infants and toddlers to radical gender and social justice theory, rather than allowing children simply to be children. Now, mainstream families simply want a safe place where their children can be cared for, not indoctrinated into Marxist post-structuralism, which is focused on pulling down the pillars of civil society which it deems oppressive. The ACECQA, that's the regulator, their agenda is to use early childhood centres to introduce 0 to 5-year-olds to so-called social justice. The material recommends that the centres, it states that the centres, when they engage social justice in the early years, that the children should be exploring gender, sexuality, race, culture and our environment. Now, I think most mainstream parents would think that 0 to 5-year-olds should not be exploring anything about sexuality. Now, not only is the government indoctrinating children in hatred of our nation, it is causing them to question their own biological makeup with potential catastrophic consequences. The radical left's takeover of mainstream politics is why the political party that I'm associated with, Family First, is fielding candidates at upcoming elections in Queensland, the ACT and federally. We simply have to build a political movement that will stand up for families and mainstream values. Dr. Bella Abrera, incidentally, has already booked to speak at Family First National Conference in Sydney on September 7. She'll be talking about education policy. Our message to Anthony Albanese is leave the kids alone. Get LGBTIQA+ gender ideology out of childcare centres.